I owned it for 16 years. Bought it off a guy who had brought it up from California. And those are Panasport wheels from Japan you see on it, about 2 years old, and new rubber with those wheels. The car was repainted, I guess, about 15 or 16 years ago, just before I had bought it from the guy. There's very little rust on the vehicle, and there is a couple of spots of rust on each of the front fenders. Try and zoom in on it here. You can see that down at the bottom there, just a little crack right there. And the only other rust on the vehicle, there's a couple of bubbles. That have not come through the paint yet there, but they're right there, and that's it. The car is solid everywhere else. The dash cover has been replaced. I have a carbon fiber dash plate that has yet to be installed. Those are automotive phantom gauges you see there. Everything works on the vehicle. Driven summers only, garage the rest of the time. 18,500 miles built on, on the new motor. Engine was rebuilt by Specialty Engineering, Andy, about 18,500 miles ago. The motor was a block brand new off the shelf from a Nissan dealer, and originally came from a 240 SX. 5-speed transmission has been rebuilt at the same time. There is no distributor here. The ignition system is an electromotive Tech 2 unit, so you can plug in your laptop and dial in your fuel curves and your timing, whatever you want to do with the engine. And it's been running very strong since the day Andy built it. All the brake lines were completely redone at the time that the engine was rebuilt by Andy, and the front calipers have been replaced by the Volvo 4-piston caliper. Rad was record. There's the sound of the exhaust system of the motor. Gauges work, oil pressure is good. Had the car up to 125 miles an hour. Don't recommend that. The car typically runs at about 180, then the electric fan on the rad kicks in. Red line on the motor, I don't know what you'd run it to. I've got the ignition program to cut out at 6,600 RPM. Good looking car. The soft top, we'll have some pictures of that shortly. It was redone 2 years ago. High quality top from Sports Imports, professionally installed by a person that Sports Imports recommended. Component on the suspension, other than the leaf springs, has been replaced by me. All new springs, new shocks, all the moving parts in the front end have been replaced. I've added a sway bar, and the steering box has been converted from the original worm drive gear, which is not very reliable, to a much more reliable recirculating ball. So the vehicle runs quite nicely, drives quite nicely. We get the soft top put on. The frame was all professionally redone by Sports Imports, and so it's all looking pretty good. We have the soft top, glass is clear, no scratches. Soft top is actually stored in the garage most of the summer.